This is Clevi Joe. As you are watching me, this is Mr. Kofi. He's a guest. First time coming to Ghana,
Very first time.
coming to Africa too,
Very
right?
first time to the coast of Africa, on
Oh,
Africa,
okay.
on the continent.
Okay. So, what made you come to Africa?
Well, I was always intrigued by Africa, knowing that I'm an African, growing up in Buxton, Guyana. You know, we always been reminded that there's a place called Ghana in my little village. I grew up going to Ghana Day every year, and it was always my aspiration to come to Ghana. So I'm able to do it now, and I feel blessed.
There is really a perception that black people are, in quotes, sorry to say, but black people are senseless. Do you really believe in that?
No, definitely not.
So,
Um,
okay.
Definitely not. My experience with black people, I mean, all my teachers are black, all my mentors are black. We have almost 90 doctors coming out of a small village. About, I would say, maybe about 4,000 people. You got like 90 doctors and counting. So, no, black people ain't no stupid. And I'm an engineer, as it is. My whole family are professionals. I'm probably the least qualified in my family. So,
So, why do you choose to be named in Ghana?
because I feel that this is where my ancestors came from, and it would be appropriate to get a name from the land, you know. So that's my main reason.
Okay, so most people usually say Africans are really harmful to people outside Africa. Sorry to say, diasporas, Black Americans, and most of you people doesn't even want to be called those names. Black American, you don't want to be called it. But let me just justify it that way. Most people usually say you people, there is a racism or there is a gap between the Africans and those coming back from the states, typically the diasporas. Do you think there is a gap between us?
I don't see it. I don't see it. I see that I was welcome. I had no sour faces. I feel at home. And it's a place where blacks can feel comfortable. Yeah, no hostility. Everybody's harmoniously working, and it's a good thing.
So, how long do you plan of you staying in Ghana?
Well, we're gonna be in Ghana until the break of the new year, and then we return to the United States.
Okay, so as you think Ghana is really a best place for you to be, why is it that you stay permanently than you moving back to US?
Well, I have a whole lot of responsibilities. I just can't drop them and decide to move to Ghana. But Ghana is a place that it will be on my radar as if I'm going to think about relocating.
Okay. So, like maybe you coming back to Ghana, or maybe you coming to Ghana for the first time, what is the experience?
The experience is wonderful. The people are warm. The the climate is good. It's not as hot as people think it is. You know, my experience has been awesome.
Okay. So, do you believe Africa has all the key to survive? Do you think Africa can survive any other thing that people usually says, like the negative thing they say to them?
Yeah, I mean, if Africa should be left alone to manage their business, Africa can survive on its own. There's too much interference in Africa. Too many people think that they own Africa. Africa belongs to Africans, and so long as they can allow Africans to blossom, things are going to be positive, and it's going to be better for the whole world. You know, a prosperous Africa is a prosperous world. So,
So, if you are supposed to say a prayer to Africa or maybe Ghana precisely, what would you have to say?
well, I would pray that you continue to work harmoniously, and look inside for your solutions, and try to forge forward with one mind, one thinking. Continue to accept the diaspora as you do, and things certainly is going to go into the right direction.
Okay, so your final words, what do you have to also tell your viewers, your audience, and people listening to you on Clevi Joe, YouTube channel Clevi Joe? What do you have to tell your people out
Well,
there?
I would say, come visit Ghana. It's a good place to visit. They have lots of activities, lots of things that would intrigue your mind. I mean, here is where the last the last port for most of our ancestors left Ghana to the Caribbean, to the Americas. So it's a place to visit. It's a place to come see and see if you can reconnect with some of your ancestors and have a sense of where you.
Okay, so Kofi, if you are supposed to recommend people to come to Africa, would you choose Ghana as the first country?
Well, it's the first country I came to, so I'll definitely choose Ghana.
So thank you for coming on my show. Thank you for wasting your time too.
No, thank you.
Thank you.